Welcome to LuZoCast, episode 8. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, the most recent episode, season 6, episode 10, the season finale, pause this right now, go and watch it, and come back and play us. If you haven't seen Independence Day Resurgence, there's also spoilers for that. But welcome to the LuZoCast.
Hello.
I'm Arjuna, your host, joined as always by our heroes and villains and in-betweeners. Krishna, Ravi, and Sarah on the FaceTime. She is currently remote and finishing the episode up, so she will be joining us momentarily. But let's get right to the episode. Wow.
Yeah.
That's the first.
That was an intense. That opening.
It starts right from the beginning. Yeah.
That piano.
With the piano in the very beginning. All of us mentioned it. Just like something's a little different here, right? You know, this weird piano, and you have these longer shots in King's Landing, and you're just like, what's kind of going on here? And you slowly come to this realization of what is actually happening, and then you just start to realize in your head, oh my god, like Cersei is about to do something that we have not seen in this show. Like, with all the ruthless leaders and everything that we've had, she blew up all of her enemies.
Yeah.
She basically blew up the entire Tyrell family besides the grandmother.
Granny.
She blew up not just the High Sparrow, but that whole religious order, essentially.
The entire religion
is gone.
Yeah. Or most of it, you'd think. Yeah.
And anybody else, she blew up her own uncle, the hand to the king at that point, in one fell swoop. And then she also
real quick,
can we
just give her a hand? She deserves a hand.
I don't know.
We all cheered when it happened.
I mean, I was so happy when that happened.
Ravi did get up and be like, yes.
I mean, which is crazy because she's evil.
Yeah, and she's
evil.
She's drinking her wine.
And I didn't cheer for it because I was in a state of shock that in one felt you killed like half your cast in like 2 seconds.
And that's not even the biggest part of that scene.
No. So you have that happens, and then Tommen goes and kills himself.
Yeah, but how they set it up though was amazing. So you get this shot of behind him and he's just staring out the window. Then he goes off screen and we're on this window for a good 30 seconds where nothing's happening. I'm like, this is really bizarre. And then he gets up on the windowsill and plunges to his death. Yeah,
so I was just like, oh, he's gonna quit. Like,
he's gonna.
And
resign.
Then he walks off and they're still hanging on, and we're all just like, oh, okay. But he comes down and he's standing like, we're like, oh, what? And we're all just.
I mean, to be fair, can you blame him? You've had the High Sparrow in one ear. You've had your crazy mother in the other ear.
Your wife's just down.
Your wife now is gone. I mean, your entire world is upside down. So.
It was the whole King's Landing,
right?
Was a game changer. And then at the end of the episode, you see, and I was asking throughout the whole episode, who's the next king or queen? And so Cersei is now the queen, the official queen of the land. Something that she's kind of always wanted and always talked about. But it's come at a huge cost. All her children are dead.
As was prophesied.
Most of her, most people in King's Landing seem to be dead at this point.
There was a guy who got smushed to pieces, but with a bell. Did you see that? Like when the tower exploded, I think a bell went flying off and squished the guy.
Right. Which is fine. Also, the green fire stuff, right? That keeps burning. Right, it doesn't go out. You can't just throw water at it. Right, it just burns and burns.
And that's why when Jaime was coming in at the end of the episode,
it's still on fire.
Still on fire.
In the 2 hours since he left.
We're gonna get to the time stuff because they really went above and beyond.
They went ham.
What geography means in Game of Thrones season 6.
Hey, we're in a whole new realm.
So just that alone, that could have been the whole season finale, and we would all be going crazy, because of what happened. But that's not the only thing that happened. So we talked about Jaime and where he's coming from, and he's coming from that place. Not River Run, but where the Red Wedding was.
The Pharrells?
The Freys.
The Freys.
And you kind of have this dinner and whatnot, and they exchanged some barbs, Walder Frey and Jaime, and then we were later brought to Walder in his throne room or whatever, where the Red Wedding was, and he asks where his sons are, and they're in the mince pies. And then there's this the female character that we've kind of seen before that was kind of eyeing up Jaime or whatnot, and she pulls off a mask, and it's Arya Stark.
I guess she lived. Called it last week.
Yes,
called it last week.
I believe you did say that was her revenge. Her revenge
was going to be slitting
Walder Frey,
which is
so. First off, wow! Like, what was creepy to me about even before with Cersei was just how evil of what she did. When I saw that from Arya, I wasn't. It was very evil. Like it wasn't even just revenge. It was just the enjoyment that you saw in her face when she slit his throat.
Yeah, watching him die.
The fact that she butchered his sons and then put them into mince pie or whatever
he
was
or
eating.
whatever that was, yeah.
Right?
Fingernail.
That's very it's Sweeney Todd.
It's just really dark,
right?
Yeah. Even 2 episodes ago, I feel like she wasn't this dark. I don't understand.
You think there's a little bit too much of a jump?
Yeah, it just seems that she's dark, and yes, she's become a murderer and very well adept and wants revenge. But this just seemed extreme. It almost seemed villainous to me from. Well,
maybe they're setting stuff up for next season,
right.
Because like you said, we've had all of these like in King's Landing, all these groups, these people, and so forth, and everything is now condensing, right? Essentially, you can break everything down to 3 groups: Jon, Cersei's group, and then Daenerys, right? And everybody, for the most part, is part of one of these main factions. Right. So everything is condensed. I wonder if they're presenting. Not necessarily the tension right off the bat, but the conflict, or they're alluding to conflict within the Stark family. So Arya is now this psychopath.
Yeah.
Sansa is.
She's become very adept at the game, clearly.
Or she's becoming adept.
Right.
And Jon is still holding true to, defend the world from the White Walker type mentality.
And then
Bran now knows the truth
about Jon Snow. Right.
The truth about Jon Snow.
And that was the biggest revelation in the episode. The very popular fan theory that Jon Snow is not Ned Stark's son, but his nephew, and that he's half Stark and half Targaryen.
We assume, right?
That's as much as a conversation as you need, a confirmation as you see, because you hear her specifically say,
don't let him find out.
Don't let him find out. They'll murder him. They will.
Yeah.
Take care of this baby, and then they have the shot of the baby, and then the next shot is Jon Snow with the epic music like that.
Oh, you didn't think that was complete? Random.
It's as much confirmation as fans need.
As you need.
This is officially Jon Snow is this character, and Bran has now, I think, hopefully, put it together.
Imagine he still hasn't put it together.
Why do I keep seeing this?
Yeah. He needs at least 3-4 more different vision walks, and then he'll get it.
In old Game of Thrones, he probably wouldn't have realized this for about half a season.
Yeah.
But in new Game of Thrones, probably episode 1, he'll be talking to Jon Snow. Even though he's at the wall right now, he needs to go from the wall to Winterfell. That's going to happen in about 5 minutes.
Do you remember season 1? I think it was season 1, right, where Jon leaves Winterfell.
In episode 1, episode 2, yeah.
And he doesn't get there till 3 or 4.
Yeah, it takes a couple episodes.
Right, in this new realm of Game of Thrones.
Varys?
Oh no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So yeah, we had the huge revelation of who Jon is now, and the first book is called Game of Thrones, but the series has always been called a song of fire and ice, and a lot of people have predicted always that Jon is the embodiment of fire and ice because he is of House Stark, the Northerners, and House Targaryen, the dragons. So he is the quote unquote unifying force, and also interestingly enough, he's the last major leader who's male. Every other faction now.
Interesting.
And even sub-faction is kind of led by a female now. Cersei, Daenerys. Even the Ironborn is led by Yara.
Yeah. And that little girl.
The little girl in the north is one of the more prominent leaders. Sansa. Is her own thing. Arya, obviously. The Ladies of Dorne. Now also teaming up with the grandmother of Tyrell.
What's her name?
Is it Olenna?
Oh, okay.
Olenna Tyrell.
Gotcha.
I believe.
Yeah.
So Jon is. So essentially, is this the story of Jon Snow and his rise? Or I mean, obviously, there's going to be a few twists and turns.
Yeah. I always thought that Song of Ice and Fire might be. I think this was before I knew that Jon was also Targaryen. I always thought Ice and Fire might be like Jon and Daenerys.
That's another. It's another theory.
Sort of like coming together.
Right.
Specifically.
Certainly another theory.
And that which could still happen, right?
Yeah.
Because aren't Targaryens supposed to marry another Targaryen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very much inbred. Yeah,
inbred.
To keep the Targaryen
blood
line,
right,
or whatnot. So yeah, you had that big revelation, and then you kind of had the cool scene that mirrors season 1 with Robb Stark of many Northerners kind of declaring, a new king of the North.
Who is Jon, which is significant because he is bastard.
He is he's still seen as a bastard.
Right.
The only Bran knows the truth now of who Jon is.
Real quick though, the men of the North and the king and the lords of the North.
Yes.
They seem to declare a new king every 6 months, and they seem to do it without question. So loyalty wise,
it's not well. So you can understand, like obviously,
with
Stark and then Robb, and then it was out of fear, but with the Boltons and whatnot. So it was. I mean, that was kind of a cool thing to see Jon's kind of being recognized now as this new leader. Even though some would argue he's not the most effective leader. He let his emotions get in the way in episode 9. He literally would have cost him that battle had it not been for Sansa.
That's nice though.
The Vale.
It's nice because it shows that he's flawed, and we don't want perfect heroes because it's boring.
Sure. So. But it's also interesting because we had some scenes in the North with Sansa and Jon, about being honest with each other. And then we also had another scene with Sansa and Littlefinger.
Yeah.
And Littlefinger kind of laying out, his plans like, I want to be the king and I want you to be my queen. Like, a little creepy.
Yeah, he wants the iron.
Yeah, and you even saw it like with Sansa kind of exchanging a look with Littlefinger during the everyone coming to Jon Snow, like declaring him.
The come together.
So the way I saw that scene was Sansa looked at Littlefinger and he didn't tip his hands, like most times, but he there was a very worried look on her face because she knows what Littlefinger is capable of. She knows he is the master of switching allegiances and whatnot. And I think the North could be in trouble because of Littlefinger. Because Littlefinger is essentially the Lord of the Vale. He controls.
Yeah.
But didn't the Lord of the Vale? They declared themselves in that room. They said Jon Snow, Lord of the North.
Right.
So.
That's true, but he still does have some pull and whatnot.
Well, he has pull everywhere. I'm sure he still has pull with the Lannisters in some way.
Yeah, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, so even though he didn't tip his hand too strongly about how he was feeling, he was not happy. Yeah. He did. I think we can.
Well, because he wants to be right. Well, he wants to be king, and they just called Jon Snow the King of the North.
Yeah.
And he clearly wanted Sansa to be his queen, so then he would.
Because he thinks he can manipulate her.
To be fair though, like with Littlefinger, I don't think that whole sequence where he's by the great tree or whatever, telling Sansa his plans. I don't think he expected the outcome to be, oh, Littlefinger, yes, let's go.
No, I don't think
I'm
so
sure
either.
this is part of his ultimate plan. Yeah. He's planting seeds.
So I forget which season it was, but one of my favorite scenes in all of Game of Thrones, it was in the finale, was a scene between Varys and Littlefinger, right before they depart and they go their separate ways. Mm-hmm. And it kind of alludes to the fact that these are the two biggest manipulators of Westeros. And the two huge players who have huge, outcomes. And obviously Varys has gone on to Team Daenerys. And he's clearly, we saw him at the end with the Dorne storyline finally coming back to that 9 episodes
episode
later.
1, episode 10.
Yeah. And Olenna Tyrell and seeming to unite their houses.
She's the best. She's by far.
Olenna?
She's old. She's seen stuff. She's been through it all. That entire sequence where she's sitting and she's talking to all the sisters. Yeah. And she's like, "Hey, you got anything? No? Okay, let's keep going here."
Right. Great stuff. The actress who plays her always does a fantastic job. And
she was a Bond girl.
Yeah. Yes, we learned that. We learned that recently. So now it would seem to me, especially with the last shot with Varys back on the boat somehow of Daenerys. I don't know how he got from Dorne back to Marine to sail with them to Westeros. Like, why wouldn't he just meet them in Westeros or wherever?
I think my personal theory is he cloned himself and he now has his clones running all over the place.
Yeah,
just joining up with that.
Like so
the ultimate victor of Game of Thrones clones.
Game of Thrones geography is not my best, but it just seems like it's a lot of traveling. I don't understand how Varys.
Yeah, he's bing, 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 bing,
he did all of that.
He's like a
but to Christian's point, Christian did mention earlier that last shot, that last sequence, could be a month or
could
something.
Be. Yeah,
we don't actually know.
Might be a little bit of a time.
We don't know where, because we don't see any land behind them. We don't see any land in front of them, so we don't know the time or when that.
It might be like a small flash forward or something.
Right.
So that's definitely interesting. But just so much going on in this episode, just with the more major deaths, classic Game of Thrones. Doing all.
Somebody's back.
I think we got our fourth.
Our fourth
person. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Sarah.
Hello. Can you hear me?
No.
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
We can see you.
Well, that's good.
You're a screen on the screen.
I'm a screen on a screen. Excellent.
Sarah, what'd you think?
I was very pleased.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm a little bit behind you guys watching it and getting on here, but okay. So very excited to have Jon Snow confirmed.
Finally, yes.
Shall we say? As the whole thing we've known for years and years and years and years. I gotta say, much as I really despise Cersei, it was awesome and well done. You crazy, crazy woman.
Sarah,
seriously, okay.
Yeah.
What I thought at the moment all of it started happening, I was like, oh my god! And I don't know. I know Robbie will know what I'm talking about. I don't know if Christian or Arjuna, if you watched it, but anyone who might be listening who watched Sons of Anarchy, it was like that. It was.
Yes.
It was like the moment when they took down everyone all at once in all those prisons and everything. It was amazing.
Very Game of Thrones, very Sons of Anarchy, and very the perfect plan coming together and being pulled off.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So it reminded me a lot actually of Watchmen when what's his face unleashes in New York
his perfect plan thing,
right? He's like, I didn't wait, I activated it 40 minutes ago,
right?
And then it's like, and then you see like New York blow up, and that's kind of just like the whole organ and that whole thing kind of reminded me of that, just like the bomb about to go off. Like we're gonna let you kind of like what's his face, the I forget his name now, who's crawling as he's being stabbed.
Oh, the Sparrow guy.
I can stop the candle. Like, no, you couldn't.
Lancel.
Yeah, Lancel.
There we go.
We got a quick comment from Imran. Yes. He basically says, I definitely think Jaime will kill Cersei now in season 7. I do personally agree with that. But after Dany meets Cersei, if they do meet. But anyways, this episode was amazing. Goosebumps from start to finish.
Nice.
Very good.
Nice.
I like that. That's
it also almost ended with Stark. Yeah, there's so much. I am proud of Arya. I don't care. I heard somebody say she is a psychopath.
she is a psychopath.
She is.
Sorry, I only heard bits and pieces of whatever you guys were saying before.
Sure.
So if I repeat something or if there's something I missed, let me know. But I'm proud of her too.
Nice.
I'm very proud of her. I'm glad that she's taking her training and doing something valuable with it.
She learned how to bake too.
I agree with that, but what freaked me out about it was just how much she enjoyed it. Like the revenge, it just seemed too like the smile on her face as she's slitting this guy's throat. That she butchered his sons and put them in pies was just a little like. Whoa.
But
I agree with revenge, but.
Think about this, though. You remember the list? She's had
of course.
list of names of the people she's wanted revenge against since almost the day her father was killed.
Right.
So is that why she?
Yeah, that's a long time coming.
Is that why she kept looking then at Jaime? Because Jaime's on that list, correct?
I don't think Jaime is on that list.
No, Cersei's on the list.
Cersei's on the list.
Gotcha.
Jaime might be on the list. Jaime probably is on the. Honestly, I can't remember, but I can look real quick while we're talking about other things.
Arya's lit.
Sounds like a great novel.
Spin-off. No, that's a whole other story.
No, we just gave HBO an idea.
Never mind.
No, don't do it, HBO. Don't do it.
No, he is not on the list. The only Lannisters is Cersei, and then Joffrey was on there.
Right.
But he's a he's a Baratheon.
So who's left on her list? Because she's already taken care of Sir Dunstan, Sir Polliver. Oh god, I don't remember all of them.
Amori Lorch for killing Yoren. There's Cersei Lannister. There's Chiswick. For capturing them.
I think some of those characters are not
There's Dunstan, who's gone. There's Sir Gregor Clegane, who's the Mountain.
That's gonna be a tough one to kill.
He's already dead. The Mountain.
The Mountain.
Basically,
Mountains Bilbo.
She'll run up to him or something and be like, "Oh well, you're kind of dead, so tomato."
I don't know. I feel like if anybody could do it, it would be this crazy psycho Arya.
Yeah, you at least have come up with something.
Sir Ilan Payne, who she killed last season 5.
Yep.
Right.
Meryn Trant, who's also gone now. Polliver.
You killed him in the last one, yeah.
Joffrey, dead. Raff, the Sweetling.
Dead. Or maybe not even in the show, I don't remember. A lot of them were people that were at,
right.
when she was hiding as a boy with the Night's Watch trying to leave.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The Tickler.
Alright, cool. What else did you guys talk about that I missed or that you haven't talked about yet?
So we kind of touched on everything generally. Just obviously the big what happened at King's Landing. All the Tyrells dying.
Tommen.
Except for Olenna. Well, you know what?
Olenna's
Not all of
alive,
them because their troops were there.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know if the troops.
I don't think all their troops, but
the troops weren't in the.
But the Highborns.
Yeah, they weren't. In the Sept, right?
Essentially.
Yeah, we lost a lot of Highborns, but whatever.
And then obviously
they were all kind of corrupt anyway. Now it's just one massive corrupt person, and the rest of them are dead.
Right.
And wanting revenge from their families.
Yeah.
So
and they
seem
and those families seem to be going Daenerys.
Right. Well, that's the option, isn't it? I mean, for them anyway. That's what they know. They vaguely know what's going on in the North, I'm sure. But speaking of what's going on in the North, dude, first, so much for Jon saying, no, it's going to be you, Sansa, because
they declared for him, yeah.
Well, apparently the North are kind of male chauvinists, so that's kind of expected.
Got the old ways
even
still.
a little girl who.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it's the North is very big on tradition, and traditionally it's a king, so
right.
That makes sense. But yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do when the news comes out that is Ned Stark's blood, just not really the way they thought.
Yeah, he's a Stark, but he's Targaryen.
But how are they gonna prove that? Hi everyone, I had a vision.
Yeah, I see things.
I see things.
I think it's gonna be. Well, I think
maybe they don't have to prove it. Maybe it's just to the North. Maybe it's just that the knowledge of that can help with the whole Daenerys thing.
For sure, and that's what I think. I think that's where it's going to come into play. Where when Daenerys finally, obviously, gets to the mainland, which will be next season,
they'll have a connection.
They will parlay or something, and it will come out that I'm half Targaryen, and we can be allies, lovers, whatever. So,
well,
all of the above.
Also, remember, Daenerys has a Red Priestess with her.
That's really true. Right. And the Red Priestess of John's is going south.
They know
Melisandre.
Yeah.
Melisandre. Right, and they know that the priestesses, the whole thing is that, and the Red Red or the Lord of the Light, that whole thing is the big battle that transcends the smaller battles of man, and so that's going to be part of that too. That's going to overshadow at some point the whole good versus evil, battle is going to completely overshadow the battles of men, basically, or women, as it were.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which I kind of dig.
So, I mean, I think what's kind of crazy now, just thinking about this, we only have 13 episodes of Game of Thrones left.
Yeah.
And I think this episode, like Ravi said, did a really good job of condensing a lot of storylines. You do
finishing a lot of storylines.
So I mean, half your cast is like dead at this point.
Yeah. Works for me.
And so I guess with the few minutes we have left talking Game of Thrones, what's everyone's kind of prediction for what's going to happen next season?
So me personally, I think it's going to be the first part of the season will be Cersei versus Daenerys. I think Daenerys is going to land there first, and you're going to see those two really strong personalities go at it. And then I think Jon is going to be a little late to that party. Sure. Like, however his storyline intertwines with that, it will be a little bit afterward. Because I think they're going to want to... Jon and Daenerys is going to be probably I feel like the climax.
Did they say and confirm that's where she's landing, is King's Landing?
No, I don't think it's been confirmed exactly where she's landing.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be something that they tackle very.
But I think that's what she's going after. She's ready to take
the throne.
The King's Landing.
So I'm gonna. Are you done?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that's the main step.
So I think to touch on that, I don't think that's where they're going to go first. They're going to go to the Ironborn, the towery shipbuilder people.
Yes.
Yes.
I think they're going to go and get that area first because she does have a promise to them because they brought all the ships and the promise was you give us our land back. So
we'll fight for you.
We'll fight. Yeah, exactly. So I figured she would go there, get them, and then start there and building up forces and so forth because also more ships wouldn't be bad, especially if you're going to take King's Landing, which is
so a big naval battle.
Oh, cool. That's that part. I think Cersei and Jaime are going to have a spat, and I think one of them will end up killing the other.
There's clearly tension there from the last shot you've seen of those two. Jaime comes in and Cersei's being crowned queen.
He must be like, what?
So he knows now that all his children are dead.
Yep.
He can see the big fire in the middle of the city, and he can see that there's no High Sparrow or anything around. So
I also think with the Starks, I think there's going to be internal fighting, like sibling rivalry.
Sure.
That in true Game of Thrones fashion will leave somebody dead.
So who do you think of the Starks won't make it?
Sansa.
Interesting.
I think she's a goner. I'm already kind of written her off because for the most part,
you think Sansa's gone?
In the scheme of overall protect the world, it's basically man versus White Walkers. She's kind of pointless in that big battle.
Sansa,
yeah. So I think she's out of there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think Arya Arya's going to be used to kill a couple more key players.
Which key players?
Not sure yet, but
Cersei. So my theory is
potentially.
My theory is Cersei.
Daenerys. I don't know.
We'll see. No. Well, there's no. I think Cersei will see her end by Arya.
Interesting.
That would be nice.
I think
it would be nice and vengeful.
Yeah. So Sarah, what's your predictions for season 6? Season 7.
I'm not projecting just for the season, but just going forward because things don't ever take place when you think they're going to.
Of course.
I think the North. I think their more immediate battle is going to be with the White Walkers.
Agreed.
I don't think the whole thing in King's Landing and then with Daenerys and none of that. So yeah, Jon will be late to that game simply because there's more going on up north that they need to deal with. They know that the Night King is coming.
Sorry. Real quick question on that. Actually, forgot to ask that. Benjen says that the wall is protected as foundation by magic.
Yes.
So they still have to go through that first, right?
They have to go through that. They could go over it. They can't go. They can't go through the wall. They have to take the wall down. as long as the wall stands, they cannot go through the wall. So that, like the big tunnel at Castle Black, the big tunnel that's there, they would not be able to enter. There are magics that were placed on the wall as the wall was being built, thousands of years ago, or 1,000 years ago. I think it's been a little over 1,000 now, to protect from the White Walkers, and that's what the Night's Watch is there for. Though in more modern times, all they really do is watch for wildlings, so it's kind of been forgotten, and that's why coming now people have a hard time believing that the White Walkers are something more than scary stories that their mothers told them, So that's why it's a hard sell for most people. So until they actually see the White Walkers and everything, they don't necessarily believe it. So that's going to be a hard sell for them, but that is going to happen at some point.
So I've read a theory that because Bran has now been marked by the Night King, once he goes past the wall, the Night King will be able to follow. So I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
So Game of Thrones tracking system. I like it.
Also, just because the Night King can follow, that doesn't mean that the other White Walkers can go.
That's true, but he could just make an army on the other side then.
Yeah, he's just to kill a bunch of people.
Well, there's a difference between the zombie army and the actual White Walkers.
That's true.
There's not many of them, right? There's only 20.
There's smaller, but there's a small. But
the actual White Walkers.
Yeah,
I don't think creating an army is like. They're gonna have to find a way to get past the wall, or the North or whoever is gonna have to take the battle across the wall.
Yeah,
and I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I mean it's going to happen. That's what's being alluded to.
Sure.
I'm torn though, because I also feel like that's being alluded to in so many ways that I don't know if that. I kind of feel like that's where that's where the North will have to focus, because it's the most immediate thing to them, and then the whole Daenerys thing. Whoever takes out Cersei, I really do hope it's Arya. I agree. I think Arya's not going to go find her family yet. She's got some vengeance. She's got some things to take care of first. I don't necessarily agree that Sansa's going to be taken out. I do think she can be valid. She's becoming more integral to the story.
I think it's a great theory.
You don't get to start theories just by saying that.
The theory has been started.
My watch has ended.
So I do. I kind of think you might be right about Daenerys going to the Iron Islands possibly first, going up to Pike, and helping them take out Euron, because once they take out Euron Crow's Eye, then they also have the rest of the ships, like you said, and the people to man those ships. And then they can go down and around to... And plus, they're going to have whatever comes from Highgarden, whatever the Tyrells bring. So they're going to have a pretty massive force at this
Dorne.
point. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and,
they have a lot of people.
I mean, we're making an assumption that they went with them, but Varys was back, so, it's a pretty good assumption, though we didn't see any of Dorne represented.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited. It's good. It's
good
stuff.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
Right. Now we have to wait another 9.5 months for the next Game of Thrones, and I'm sure throughout the LuZoCast in those 9.5 months we will do more wrap up of the season and speculation and whatnot.
Oh, I'm gonna forget everything after tonight.
I'm gonna read all the rumors and all the
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we're in the end game. We're in the home run stretch at this point.
My watch has ended. I refuse.
We didn't even talk about Sam going into George R. R. Martin's brain.
It's George R. R. Martin's mind palace.
I am interested to see how it's going to tie in with everything else, because
he's going to discover something. I'm sure.
Yeah, and that would probably make the most sense.
He's basically Gandalf.
He now has the access to the history of everything. So we'll see.
Also, Sam, where Sam is right now, has already taken place in the books. In the last book. And there is, I'm going to have to go back and look at it, because I don't even remember what's going on with Sam in the books. He, in the books, had already made it to the Citadel, and some of that had already happened. So I'll go back and at least read some of the stuff and catch myself back up on that, and maybe we can talk about that some next week.
Yeah.
What's the place called?
Yeah, so where is he geographically?
It's the Citadel. So he is in Old Town, which is where all the maesters train.
Old Town, okay.
And become maesters and get their chains. And it takes them years and years. So I don't know how quickly he thinks he's going to make it back.
2 hours.
To the wall. Yeah, maybe
Episode 3. Season 7.
But yeah, so that's where he is. He's in Old Town, which is down in the Citadel. It's in the Free Cities. That's where the Maesters train.
Oh, so then my one question is, if he's in the Citadel, when Sansa says to Jon, "We got a White Raven from the Citadel," and Jon smiles, is that because that's a raven from Sansa?
Yeah, you said it during the episode.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no. The White Ravens.
Or is it winter is coming?
The White Ravens always denote that winter is coming.
Okay.
That winter's here.
Yeah.
Officially.
Right.
And Jon's like, no, really?
Like that's their house motto is the winter is coming. So I think that was just Jon kind of being a little bit like, well, it's
It's about time.
Dad was right.
Yeah.
Well, no, Dad was right. Whatever. Okay.
All right. So
I kind of think that's what that was.
Yeah. So I mean, again, lots to discuss with Game of Thrones in the future. I think we've really covered what happened today. A lot to digest. A lot to speculate on in these last 13. But let's move on to a movie that all of us saw recently, this past Thursday night. A sequel to the beloved cult classic Independence Day. Thursday, us four all saw Independence Day Resurgence, the sequel, the long-awaited sequel, 20 years later, to the beloved Roland Emmerich classic.
Woo!
And mixed thoughts, I think, between people here. Some people liked it, other people not so much. I mean, whoever wants to go first with their opinion on it.
Nice. Just want to point out, we actually got that poster there from the Chinese theater right there, hanging in the back above the Star Destroyer. I guess I'll go first. I'm really glad I saw it on the big screen because
visually impressive.
Visually, yeah, very impressive.
Wait, I thought everyone here loved the movie, regardless of all of its flaws.
No, that was you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who didn't love it?
No. So I liked it. I didn't love it. I'm glad I saw it, but I wouldn't be sad if I never saw it again.
Wow.
Just because it was okay. It was good. I was entertained. It did its job, which was to entertain me.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it didn't blow me out of my seat. Right. It was a good, entertaining movie.
It was amazing.
I would give it a B minus.
And to go with Christian's point, I'd probably go a little more negative than Christian.
You're just saying that because I loved it.
No, I'm not.
No. Yeah.
It's a movie I have no desire to ever see again.
Really?
Yeah. It just in terms of me, like I like the first Independence Day a lot.
Right.
And I just think it does everything Independence Day does to an inferior level. To me, there's no point to ever watch the sequel. I can just go watch the original and be more entertained, and it's more enjoyment to me. So I just think the movie, for me personally, felt too rushed. I felt like nothing was able to. There was like in the first movie, it's more of a build up to what's going on. It takes place over 4 days. This movie takes place over 8 hours, if that.
And that second half takes place over 12 minutes.
The last 12 minutes takes 45 minutes.
right.
So it just felt a little rushed to me in terms of what you were looking for. There were certainly some fun parts. There were
Brent Spiner was great.
Brent Spiner,
the man,
killed it as always.
My favorite part of the movie.
Mine too. But I just felt that the plot was. The plot was inferior. The new characters certainly were inferior. That build up wasn't there for me. Even like the establishing shots weren't there for me. The first movie did such a good job of really kind of visually telling you what was going on. Like even with the destruction of the world, this just felt more. I don't know, just more standard fare. And maybe that's because of the times that we live in now. Like there are these explosive blockbusters. We have 4 Transformer movies
every other week, yeah.
Right, you have all the superhero movies where New York and half the world are blown up, on occasion. So I just think it wasn't what I wanted.
I disagree. I think it's exactly if you saw Independence Day, the first one, and then you went into this one thinking it was going to surpass that, then your expectations were already too high. I went into this with my expectations being, I want to see some kind of generic sci-fi story. I want to see something where it kind of pushes things along. I want to see alien tech involved with humanity. I want to see explosions.
Well, then it did all those
things. It did everything that I wanted it to do. That was my checklist.
To clarify, I wasn't expecting it to be better, but it felt like it wasn't just slightly inferior in my opinion. It was very inferior. For me.
Anyway, it was great. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've learned over the many, many years that I've walked this planet that when it comes to the big Hollywood blockbuster film, I go into it not thinking that it's not going to be like a piece of art, where you look at it and you're like, wow, this is groundbreaking. This is going to change the world or whatever, and the plot has to be perfect, the acting has to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I went into it with, I want to be entertained, I want to just kind of shut my brain off.
Oh, it definitely did that.
It doesn't have to be perfect for me. It has to have some semblance of just... There has to be some quality to it. I felt like there's no quality to this.
But I think it had the right amount of quality in regards to it entertained me.
Yeah.
It was a cheesy sci-fi.
Yeah, sure.
I guess I am a Roland Emmerich fanboy.
A big one. You like all of his movies?
Wait. Yeah. I do like all of his movies.
I want to get Sarah's opinion on the movie. So Sarah, go ahead.
Well, I think that Christian and Arjuna are crazy.
Well, we never disagree.
I think, number one, again, leave some baggage when you go to watch the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because seriously, it's a sci-fi movie. And it was fun. And it was a classic sci-fi, aliens, alien tech. Robbie had it right. I will gladly watch it again. And every year going forward, instead of just watching Independence Day on the 4th of July, I'm also going to watch Independence Day 2 Resurgence. And so
Pacific Rim.
I want to watch it.
And Pacific Rim.
And we're going to watch Pacific Rim, yes. We're going to watch them, I don't know what order.
I would do...
I think Independence Day, then Resurgence, then Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
just because
that's exactly
then
how
you're
I
in,
I'm going to skip the middle one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be out of the room at that point.
That's fine. You don't have to come over. I mean, if you don't like my movies, that's fine.
If you don't like my movie.
I never make out with people. I would never force someone to watch a movie they don't like, but I liked it.
Hey, I'm going to say this, though. Bill Pullman's speech in this second one was nowhere near as good as his speech in the first.
It never was going to be, though. I mean...
Didn't even try.
You can't.
Well, not only that, but...
I know, it's true. You can't. There's no way you could top it.
You're expecting that, though.
So I went in with very low expectations, and it met my expectations. So that's why.
So it was a great movie.
No, it was one of those. I was entertained for 2 hours. And there were funny moments.
He high-fived me.
Yeah, which is really good. And there were parts that were really funny. There were parts, really good action. But yeah, it fulfilled everything that I was expecting and went to go see the movie for.
I'm kind of glad they didn't try to mimic the speech, because the speech is iconic. That one of the things I'm happy about is that
it's one of the most memorable things of that film.
Why try and just kind of repeat and I one of the things I will commend the movie for is they didn't just try and repeat the first movie, which is nice. Like a lot of sequels always fall into a trap of this worked really well, so we're just going to do it but bigger and better.
Think we lost Sarah.
Oh no!
Oh,
Sarah's gone. She disagreed with us so much.
She was so angry.
You know what? I'm done with you.
Yeah. Well, so I just actually pulled up a list of Roland Emmerich.
Oh, is she back?
No, it failed. Let me try calling her back.
So I just pulled up a list of Roland movies that he's directed.
Oh, hold on a second. Are you back?
I'm back. I know, right after I said that, I was like, oh, and now you lost me. Crap.
That's so funny.
So a list of Roland Emmerich amazing films.
All right, so he has a lot from before Independence Day, but they're not that well known. So I'm going to start. Actually, I'll start with the one right before Independence Day. That Ravi is probably Ravi's favorite, Stargate. Number one.
Yeah.
That's
a great movie.
It started like one of the best universe
movie.
franchises ever.
So Stargate in 1994, Independence Day in 96.
Yes.
1998, Godzilla with
Yes.
Matthew Broderick.
That was awesome. The American Godzilla that we had been waiting for. The American Godzilla that we need.
Okay, 2000, The Patriot.
Wait, he directed The Patriot?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He did The Patriot?
Yes.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's
I
a
did not
great
realize
movie.
that.
I'll be honest real quick. I'm sorry.
No, don't you say
I
it.
like it.
Don't you? Okay, you are cracking.
Okay.
Wait, you don't like The Patriot?
I don't not like it. I'm just the world's not ending.
Oh.
So whatever.
No, it is though. Like if you look at it from that perspective, it is in their world. It was ending. It's
There's
just
no
not
aliens, so I don't care.
But it was
There's no alien
beautifully
technology.
shot. It was a beautiful movie. I'm a sucker for period pieces, but it was really well done. It is one that I consistently go back and watch.
And Heath Ledger's in it. Yeah, classic.
Oh, yeah,
classic.
Yeah, it's Mel
classic.
Gibson. Oh, the son, right?
Yeah. Classic, classic movie.
Well, the one who, spoiler alert, dies, right?
You just ruined that movie.
I said spoiler alert.
I know.
What else? What else did it do?
2004, another one of Ravi's personal favorites, The Day After Tomorrow.
That's a good one.
Wait. Day After
Global warming. Al Gore supported that film.
Wait, he directed Day After Tomorrow?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Interesting.
Day After Tomorrow, for me, is like a classic movie, like when you're sick at home.
And you just need something
You just
on.
need something like to on, but it's a good movie to put on.
Yes.
Like for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. Jake
2000
Gyllenhaal.
2000.
Yeah. Oh, Jakey boy.
2008, 10,000 BC.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I never saw that.
I never saw that.
Let's be honest, 10,000 BC. That's
There's
not
no
really the world
aliens,
ending.
so I don't care.
Probably don't need to.
Okay, so you have that, and then 2009, you had 2012.
Best film hands down.
2012
ever.
came out in 2009?
Yes, that is correct.
That was supposed to be the alignment of the planets based
the
on
Mayan
the
calendar.
Mayan
You know the
calendar.
best part about that movie? Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
John Cusack?
Oh, okay. Yes, John Cusack.
You're going to say
That
that.
was it was entertaining. I wouldn't watch that one again, but I do love John Cusack. So
That one?
he also saved Hot Tub Time Machine and is the reason I didn't watch the second one.
Because
past,
he
the first 10
didn't come back. That's right.
Right.
All I remember about 2012 is it felt super long.
It is.
I don't remember
it's
that movie
2.5
at all.
hours.
But it feels like it's 4 because like every time you think it's the end, there's another hour. And you're just like, what's happening?
The end of the world is
I don't
happening.
remember much about that movie at all.
Oh, that's so funny.
Okay, so after 2012, you had he directed a couple small movies: Anonymous in 2011, Dark Horse in 2012, which was a TV movie, and then 2013 was White House Down.
Nice.
With Channing Tatum.
I didn't know he did that.
Actually, you know what? I didn't
watch
see
that
that.
one. I want to see that
White
one.
House Down is actually
I
pretty
saw that
good.
on
Is it good?
Watched
Pretty
it.
good. It's entertaining.
I saw that on a
Very
bus,
entertainment.
a bus ride. Oh, yeah. And then 2015, he directed a movie called Stonewall.
So basically, he does great with the aliens. Stick with the aliens, and let's get our Stargate.
Hey, The Patriot's awesome.
The Patriot is a great movie.
It'd be better if there were aliens. I'm not saying the red coats were aliens.
But
You,
they're
you
aliens.
could call the British the illegal alien. Well, or you know,
Yeah. You can finagle it.
Let me also name Roland Emmerich does have some awards. So really briefly, I will mention them. For Independence Day, he won the People's Choice Award, Kids' Choice Award, and Saturn Award. For Godzilla, he won the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Remake or Sequel. But he also won the Saturn Award for Best Special Effects.
Oh, there you go.
So,
he runs the gamut of awards.
Real
Yeah,
quick,
he really does.
Real quick,
Movies.
and don't quote me on this because I'm just making this up. If it wasn't for Godzilla, we might not maybe have Pacific Rim. I'm sure
This
there's
is true.
some connection somewhere.
But
Potentially.
also, wasn't there a something about the possibility of a Stargate reboot?
if this does well, yes, the studio will.
I can only hope that happens.
So unfortunately, just to touch on that real quick, Finding Dory
La la la.
took the top seat at the box office.
So?
Independence Day has come in below expectations. So
that's
far,
for sure.
financially.
Yeah.
Financially, that doesn't. We don't know what his expectations were.
Well,
No,
it's not his. It's the studio.
We're talking about the studio. Like,
Fine.
we all want. Christian, I don't think really cares, but I think Ravi, Sarah, and I all do want more Stargate. So
Always.
You know?
Always, but
I want more Stargate movies.
Universe didn't
The show was amazing.
So, all right, we got 10 minutes. So, speaking of sci-fi news, a little more sci-fi news on Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Wait, is that the title? A Star Wars story?
Pictures.
Interesting.
Yes. So,
okay.
So Sarah and Ravi shared this information with us during the week, and we want to share it in a.
Yeah. What news? Did you tell me?
The release of the pictures.
The pictures and the revelation of a certain character, played by Forrest Whitaker.
Robbie, go ahead.
I'm so confused. What are we talking about?
Forrest Whitaker's character.
Right. Forrest Whitaker's character is a character from the Clone Wars animated television. Oh, right. Sarah disappeared again.
Bye, Sarah.
I'll just say it real quick. Anyway, so it's Forrest Whitaker's character plays a character from the Clone Wars series known as Saw Gerrera, who is a rebel fighter during the Clone Wars, not for the Republic, not for the Separatists, but from the planet Odoron, not Alderaan, Odoron with an O.
Onderon. It's pronounced Onderon.
Onderon with an O.
Right.
Oh, and an N.
And he's a rebel fighter. The big thing with him is he is somewhat considered an extremist with his tactics.
Terrorists, right?
Basically, the Jedi Council actually consider him and his people terrorists to a degree, just because of how they acted during the war and so forth. After the incident on their planet, Count Dooku basically takes control of the planet, and a false king is imposed. And because the planet never declared themselves part of the Republic or part of the Separatists kind of swooped in and took over. But because they were a neutral planet, the Republic couldn't send in, clones or Jedi to help. So what the Jedi Council said is, we'll send Jedi advisors in to help train your people to defend themselves, essentially. During all of that, that's where you kind of get the sense that Saw has this ideology, these tactics, and so forth. And ultimately, because of this, his sister, who actually kind of is the reason those people come together, unite, and are able to defeat the Separatists, she actually gets killed in an accident because he basically blows up some kind of droid fighter, it crashes, and she falls to her death. Right. That is kind of the catalyst for his even more extremist ways of fighting the enemy or an enemy, especially into the Galactic Civil War, which is, episode 4, 5, and 6. They actually bring it up a few different times. They bring it up in Star Wars Rebels. They also bring it up in the graphic novel Bloodline, where they basically, people are like, look at you rebels, you guys are kind of extreme, like during the Saw campaigns, where the terrorist acts were at an all-time high and so forth.
So, quick question then. What is the significance of Star Wars coming out and declaring and confirming that this character is in Rogue One, and the fact that this is a character from Star Wars, the Clone Wars? What's the significance?
Sure. So the big thing is they're connecting their universes, right? Star Wars traditionally started out on the big screen. We have this Star Wars Clone Wars series that's no longer airing new episodes, unfortunately. It's a series that ended officially back in 2013 or 14. They did a couple episodes to finish everything up on Netflix in 2015. This shows that they're connecting characters, and they're showing bridges and so forth. And what's great is they're cross-platforming the different aspects of media that they have, which is great.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When Star Wars or Clone Wars was going on, this is before the sale to Disney. Yes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And that's kind of why they ended it, because of the sale. The sale happened. The show was popular with a niche, but I don't think it was a ratings hit for Cartoon Network at the time. So
the other big problem as well is because Cartoon Network and Lucas had an agreement. That was where it made it tricky.
And it was owned by Disney.
Right, because if something comes in owned by Disney, it's airing on Cartoon Network, which is owned by, I think, Viacom. It's
direct competitors.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey. The other big thing with Sam Saw is that he's actually a character from George Lucas.
Yes. Right.
George Lucas originally came up with one of the many characters that he wanted to put in expanded Star Wars stuff and movies and so forth. What's the creator of Clone Wars again?
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, who during his time of creating the Clone Wars, he was very close with George Lucas, and that's how he became aware of this character, and George was like, yes, put this character in Clone Wars. So it goes from George to Dave in Clone Wars, and now it's going from Dave and Clone Wars into Rogue One with Forrest Whitaker. So it'll be very, very interesting to see.
That's Dave.
Yeah, I know who Dave is.
I just want to give you
a picture of Dave?
A visual picture.
I think we lost Sarah.
So I think what's
yep,
really
we
cool,
did.
Oh dear. I think what's really cool about having Saw in there, it opens up the huge possibilities of a lot of cool characters that were introduced.
Cad Bane.
Cad Bane being one. A lot of people speculate. Ahsoka Tano, probably the fan favorite of the. There's two shows.
Actually, so real quick, Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan from Clone Wars. So he's a Jedi Knight. He trains this, Padawan, and she's very powerful in her own right. And then she kind of goes off by herself and is never seen again.
Right.
Or
she's kicked out of the Jedi Order.
Right.
So
let's see if we can get Sarah back, because I know she has some.
We definitely want to get her opinion.
Hi.
Hi.
Before you break up again, your opinion on Saw.
I'm really excited, but I love Clone Wars. I love her. I love the expanded universe stuff, so I'm very excited to see it. And I like that they're bringing all of the that they're bringing them together, that they're pulling in pieces that people can watch this and never have seen Clone Wars, and it's fine. But for those who watched Clone Wars, for those who've read the expanded universe stuff, that it brings so much more to it. And I kind of like that they're kind of giving that little extra to us, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's definitely, it feels like a reward for the
being the biggest nerds in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
For the true fans,
like Clone Wars now, even though it is official canon, it has more it's more relevant now to these movies that we're also watching.
Awesome.
It's not ignored anymore. It's not and that's
it's not the bastard child.
And you're like you kind of said, Ahsoka is a fan favorite, and people have been hoping that she'll show up in one of these movies. And Ventress is another one. And that's the thing. So.
Can I say about Ventress that I need all of you to read the book that I've told you to read multiple times?
I don't know how to read.
I can't read.
I can't feel my legs.
It's Dark Disciple. Anyone listening, if you're a Ventress fan, Dark Disciple. It's wonderful, and I need everyone to read it and report back to me, please.
Okay, great. So we're up against it. So let's do final thoughts, and then we can wrap the show. Whoever wants to go first. The final thoughts on Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Independence Day, anything in between.
Yeah. I'll just say, I guess, to wrap up Game of Thrones, this season felt a little bit different than the rest of the seasons. I think we'll all agree on that. It was faster. There was more action. Travel was not a thing in this season.
Fast travel.
Yeah, fast traveling. The action scenes, I think, were the best that we've seen. In my opinion, I think this was the best season of Game of Thrones, and I think it's interesting that now that the series is free of sort of the confines of the books, that I enjoyed this season so much, and so therefore I'm very excited for the last 13 episodes. And also, I guess the actors and actresses in Game of Thrones are getting huge pay raises for the last 13 seasons, as they should.
13 episodes.
Yeah.
I heard it was just the last season 8, no season 7.
Oh, pay raises.
Yeah, the page one was supposed to be. I read season 8.
I feel like they killed off so many characters. You can pay these people.
I thought the contracts were all set already. I didn't know they were still.
Yeah, I think I read that they're getting pay raises.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, overall, very much looking forward to the last 2 seasons.
Sarah?
Yes.
Final thoughts?
I was very, very pleased with this season, just because for me it was a whole different thing. I had not read the book before this season because, some pieces, I had already been were already established in the books that were part of this season. But as on the whole, I was coming into it just as blind as everyone else, which was really kind of cool. And I was very pleased with it. And yes, time travel seems to happen in this season.
Very much so.
But still, it was great, and I'm really looking forward to the next couple of seasons, and the next book, which needs to come out, because I'm really ready to have another book to read about that.
Here's a real question. Will the next book come out before the show ends?
No.
No, I think it will come out before the show ends, because that's another 2 years. I don't know that it'll come out before next season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that he's actively working on it. If you look at his website, which is georgerrmartin.com, he posts excerpts, which is kind of nice if you want to read. I mean, now that I haven't read the excerpts, I'm kind of like, but I don't know what the excerpts have in them, but he'll post excerpts or parts of chapters from the books, so that's kind of cool. His website's kind of fun to go to and look around at anyway. The other thing I want to say is if anybody has a chance to, and you haven't seen it, the Entertainment Weekly article with the new pictures from Rogue One is great. The pictures look awesome. The Death Troopers, like, there's so much stuff in there. So I was really excited about that this week too.
Nice, great, Ravi.
And Independence Day 2 Resurgence was awesome. So.
Real quick on the entertainment pictures. They posted pictures of the new Death Troopers. And this is just for the general audience out there. If you happen to know a armor builder or somebody that is looking to build armor or looking for people interested in getting armor, if you are working on Death Trooper armor, please reach out to us at LuZo Productions. Just because I think we're all interested. I think we're all interested. Don't lie. You're interested.
Also, besides the Death Troopers, the picture of the Stormtroopers standing in the, knee deep in water, looks kind of like the beach or something in ocean. It was awesome. Sorry, just saying. Really awesome picture.
The other big thing, George R. Martin's brain being a library.
Inception.
I called that. That's mine. I own that.
It's his mind palace.
It's his mind palace.
Oh, Sherlock in there too. So just for our audience, just because Game of Thrones is now over, that does not mean LuZoCast is ending. We will be back next Sunday. I don't think we've nailed down a time yet what we will be airing next week, but we will
7:30.
We might be able to go earlier now just to hit our East Coast audience as well. And everything.
And if anyone has suggestions of shows that we should watch,
shows or movies or things that we can discuss,
anything.
We're pretty
comic books,
pretty open
graphic novels,
to a lot of entertainment stuff.
Pop culture.
We like being entertained.
Yes. Are you not entertained? But we will be back next Sunday. Please like us on Facebook at LuZo Productions. You can follow us on Twitter also at LuZo Productions. We also have a YouTube channel that this is streaming through right now. Hopefully you're watching it through that, or I don't know how else you're watching.
Well, the internet is a large place.
So please like our video. Please subscribe. We
links
have a bunch
should be below.
Links will be below. You can check out all of our other stuff. We have LuZo reviews, different sketches, and whatnot. So please check that out. Also, my final thought, Krishna, Ravi, and I recently finished Voltron Legendary Defender from Netflix.
Awesome. And
in this coming week, we will have a LuZo review on that, so check that out on our page as well. But for that, as of that, at the end of that, this has been the LuZoCast. Thanks for joining us. On behalf of Krishna, Ravi, Sarah, and myself, Arjuna, enjoy the rest of your day and life, I suppose.
You're coming back next week.
Oh, we'll be back.
Jeez.
Or will they? No, but
don't go Game of Thrones on us.
They will. They like us.
But thanks for watching as always, and we will see you next week.
And I will be there next week.
Yes.
In person.
No more crappy FaceTime connection.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe it's too bad we didn't draw on her face though.
Well, we can't.
Oh, you didn't draw on my face because I'm
we
FaceTiming.
could have put sticky posts.
It's true.
Could have put a goatee right here,
Yeah. I look good with a goatee, I'm sure.
Oh dear.
Glasses. Little Harry Potter scar.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my.
Yeah, I could have drawn my own face had I realized that it was an option.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and until next week.
And I lost sound. Oh, there we go.
Bye.
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 Have a good week.